My boss, Jade, refused to book my flight for a $5 million deal. Instead, she insulted me, mocking, "Why bring trash?" But what she didn't know was that the client's CEO was my brother. I simply smiled and said, "Good luck in the meeting. Today was a $5 million deal. Do you think I should carry the trash?" Jade's remarks left me speechless. On the other end of the phone, I could hear her giggling with delight. After the call ended, I tried to reach her, but her phone was switched off. She had planned this from the start. However, what she didn't realize was that my brother was the CEO of the client company. Without hesitation, I called him and added myself to the booking list for the upcoming flight. I had endured her petty harassment for too long, but this was my breaking point. It was time for Jade to face reality. My name is Mary Walters, and I work for a trade company in the sales division. My proposals are highly valued, and I consistently achieve the highest sales performance. Thanks to my positive outlook, strong interpersonal skills, and deep product knowledge, I have gained recognition within the company, often being referred to as the ace of the sales department. However, my journey wasn't always smooth. I joined the company straight out of high school, and at first, I made countless mistakes. My lack of product expertise led to dissatisfied clients and failed negotiations. In retrospect, I used to despise studying. I relied solely on persuasive conversation to land contracts rather than knowledge. My brother, on the other hand, excelled academically, scoring nearly 1,600 on his SATs and getting into a prestigious university. No matter how hard I tried, I could never match his achievements, and it left me feeling like a failure. Determined to carve my own path, I chose to enter the workforce instead of pursuing further education. Ironically, I soon realized that working in sales required continuous learning. One day, I recommended a product that better suited a customer's needs than what they had initially planned to purchase. Seeing their satisfaction and gratitude transformed my perspective. It dawned on me that my knowledge could genuinely help people. That realization fueled my passion for learning, and from that moment on, I committed myself to mastering product knowledge. My current success is a result of those efforts. Unfortunately, success often attracts jealousy. 6 months ago, Jade joined our company. She was reportedly the top salesperson at a rival firm and, like me, was 26 years old. I was assigned as her trainer, but our first interaction set the tone for our relationship. "Nice to meet you, Jade. I'm Mary Walters, and I'll be in charge of your training. Feel free to ask me anything." "Really? You're my trainer," she scoffed. "You seem kind of unreliable. Are you sure this is okay?" Her condescending attitude was apparent from the start. Despite this, I took my responsibilities seriously, teaching her everything I knew. However, Jade dismissed my methods, ridiculing my practice of including thank you notes with shipments. "Mary, are you seriously wasting time on this? That's so inefficient." I explained that while some customers might discard the note, others appreciated it. No one dislikes receiving gratitude. Likewise, when recommending products, I prioritized the client's needs over popularity. But Jade continued to belittle my approach, laughing at my strategies and calling me a nerd for my detailed knowledge. A month into her training, our sales rankings were announced. As usual, I secured the top spot. The entire office applauded, except for Jade. She glared at me, seething with jealousy. From that day on, her behavior toward me worsened. She spread false rumors, tampered with my schedules, deleted my documents, and even unplugged my phone during client calls. When I confronted her, she sneered. "Do you have proof? Don't accuse me without evidence." It's really annoying. One day, she crossed the line. While standing beside my desk, she casually reached into my bag, pulled out my wallet, took $100, and tossed it back at me. "Thanks for the bonus," she said mockingly before walking away. Enough was enough. I reported her to my boss, but without concrete proof, he hesitated to take strong action. Even with a warning, Jade's harassment escalated. My work hours doubled due to lost schedules and missing documents. I adapted, instructing clients to email instead of calling and regularly checking the shredder bin for discarded mail. Then, a game-changing opportunity arose. A leading medical device manufacturer, one of the top companies in the industry, showed interest in our products. If secured, the deal would be worth $5 million. My boss assigned me as the main contact, and as expected, Jade volunteered to assist. Despite my reservations, I remained professional. Instead of helping, she sent unauthorized materials to the client, pushing products they hadn't requested. Luckily, a colleague alerted me in time. I quickly rectified the situation, personally explaining the differences and identifying the client's true needs. On the day of the meeting, I presented tailored solutions that perfectly matched their requirements. The client appreciated my meticulous approach, and 2 days later, they placed a $5 million order. Jade's reaction was priceless. Wow, that's a huge deal. I bet they chose the product I sent the materials for, right? She smirked, snatching the estimate from my hands. Her smile vanished as she read it. The chosen product wasn't hers, it wasn't even in the final selection. We have a direct meeting with the client in 2 weeks, I informed her. Could you book our flights? Jade immediately grinned, and I foolishly thought she had given up her antics. But on the day of the meeting, I was stranded at the airport. She never showed up. She had my ticket, and without it, I couldn't board. But what she didn't know was that my brother was the client's CEO. Within minutes, I secured my flight and arrived at the meeting on time. When I walked into the boardroom, Jade's face turned pale. She had tried to sabotage me, but in the end, she only sabotaged herself. Worried about missing my flight, I rushed to the counter, explained the situation, and asked if I could still board. That's when I discovered a shocking fact. My ticket hadn't been reserved. Only Jade's was. My heart pounded as I called Jade. After several rings, she finally picked up. Sorry, I was busy with the boarding process and couldn't answer, she said nonchalantly. Frustrated, I confronted her immediately. Jade, they said there's no reservation under my name. What's going on? My voice rose with panic and anger. Jade just laughed, clearly enjoying herself. Today is a $5 million deal. Should I bring the trash along? Her words made my mind go blank. I could hear her gleeful laughter before the call ended. She had turned off her phone, making it impossible to reach her. It was clear, she had planned this from the start. But what Jay didn't know was that the CEO of the client company was my brother. Determined, I put myself on the standby list for the next flight and called my brother, Kyle. I had tolerated Jade's petty harassment until now, but I couldn't take it anymore. It was time for her to face reality. Unfortunately, both the next flight and the one after that were fully booked, leaving me stranded at the airport. Then, at exactly 1 p.m., the time of the meeting, my phone rang. The caller ID displayed Jade. Suppressing my laughter, I answered. Hello. Where are you right now? She demanded, panic evident in her voice. I smirked. We're at the airport. You should know exactly where I am. Jade, you didn't reserve my ticket. She fell silent. I could hear her grinding her teeth. Then she snapped. Just get here quickly. The client CEO says that if you don't come, the deal is off. I could hear a familiar voice in the background, Kyle. A video call invitation appeared on my phone, no doubt at his instruction. I accepted it. Jade's face appeared on the screen, pale and tense. She turned to look at my brother and the manager standing beside him. Her confusion deepened. Why are you with that trash at the airport? I stifled my laughter. The CEO and manager? Oh, you mean my brother and our company's CEO. Jade's eyes widened in horror. Kyle's voice cut through the tension. Calling someone trash is quite disrespectful. My sister, this trash, is the person in charge of this deal. Jade blinked in shock. Then, as if grasping at straws, she scoffed. So you're favoring her just because she's your sister, Kyle? That's not good for the company. Look, I brought a new proposal. This product is much more popular than the one that Trash suggested. Kyle's face darkened. Enough. Jade flinched. I heard that our staff received a brochure for a product that didn't meet our needs. You sent it, didn't you? Jade stammered. That's not possible. This product is really popular. So what? Kyle cut her off coldly. No matter how popular it is, if it's not what we need, it's useless. He continued. My sister worked tirelessly to understand our requirements and find a suitable solution. She was transparent about the pros and cons of each product, which is why we chose to do business with your company. We trusted her honesty. But if you plan to replace her with someone like you, who only pushes popular items without understanding the client's needs. We will cancel this deal." Jade was speechless. My heart swelled with emotion. Kyle had always been distant, but his words showed how much he valued my work. The manager, realizing the gravity of the situation, stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I deeply apologize. It's my responsibility for not properly supervising my subordinate. Our company has no intention of replacing Mary. We sincerely apologize for today's incident. Could we possibly reschedule? We will ensure that Mary will be there." Kyle, still displeased, nodded. "For the sake of the company, I'll let it go." Jade was pale and trembling. The call ended, but I could still hear the manager's angry voice echoing through the office. Hours later, after business hours, Jade returned to the office. She looked exhausted, her face a mess. But I felt no sympathy. She had done this to herself. The moment she stepped in, the manager stormed toward her. "What is the meaning of this?" Jade's eyes filled with tears. "Sir, I was set up. Please believe me." Feigning innocence, she clung to the manager's arm, pressing her chest against him and looking up with pleading eyes. The manager, slightly flustered, asked, "How?" Jade lowered her face, but a wicked smile crept onto her lips. "Mary ordered me to go alone today. I told her she was the person in charge, but she said I was being impertinent for not obeying her. She even threatened to harass me until I quit." The manager looked between us. "Is that true?" "Of course not," I stated firmly. "In fact, I've been the one getting harassed by Jade." "You're just making things up. You don't have any proof." Jade shot back smugly. I smiled sweetly. "Oh, but I do." Jade's face twisted in shock. Ignoring her, I pulled out my phone and played the latest audio file. The room was silent as her own voice filled the air. "Today is a $5 million deal. Should I bring the trash along?" The manager's eyes widened in fury. "So it was you, Jade. You're the cause of this disaster." "That's fabricated," she screeched. "Oh, really?" I played another recording and then another, each one capturing her insults and manipulative schemes. The manager's face darkened. The company higher-ups frowned in displeasure. "And that's not all," I added, my voice calm but firm. "Jade has been deleting documents from the shared folder, erasing schedules from the department app, and sabotaging my work in multiple ways." "Lies!" Jade yelled. "You don't have any proof." I tilted my head. "Don't you know our company computers automatically log every action?" Jade's face drained of color. The manager turned to her. "Jade, my office. Now." She gulped, finally realizing there was no escape. I stood there victorious as she walked past me, her fate sealed. The company's internal network tracks who accesses shared folders and apps. When I pointed this out, Jade's face turned pale. "What? No one told me that." The manager's expression darkened. "What have you done?" Jade, visibly panicked, tried to deny everything. "I didn't do anything." But the evidence was undeniable. The CEO intervened. "Enough. We will conduct a thorough internal investigation." Jade desperately pleaded. "Please believe me." The CEO remained firm. "If you've done nothing wrong, then you have nothing to worry about. This investigation will prove your innocence. Until then, you are suspended. Do not come to the office." Jade's face drained of color. A suspension was a severe blow to someone who prided herself on her career. She tried to charm the Southeast manager, but the company refused to budge. The next morning, despite her suspension, Jade showed up at the office. The supervisor, having been informed, immediately ordered her to leave. When the manager arrived and saw her, he was furious. "If you don't go home now, you'll be fired." Tears streamed down her face as she left, defeated. For a moment, peace returned to the office. Work flowed smoothly, just as it had before Jade arrived. But that evening, the CEO summoned me to his office. His expression was serious, and the manager looked grim as he stared at a computer screen. The CEO gestured for me to look. On the monitor was a video call. My brother and Jade were on the other end. "Mary," my brother said, "she claims you sent her to see me. Is that true?" I blinked, stunned. "What? Why would I do that?" My brother sighed and explained. After being sent home, Jade must have realized how much trouble she was in. Desperate, she went to my brother's company, bypassing all formal contact channels and requesting a direct meeting. Thinking I had come to apologize, my brother let her into his office. But instead of apologizing, Jade enthusiastically pitched her product again, the same one that had been rejected the day before. When he dismissed her, she clung to his arm, pressing against him in a blatant attempt to manipulate the situation. Furious, my brother demanded to know if she was mocking him. Realizing she was in serious trouble, Jade lied, claiming that I had ordered her to do this to secure the contract. I sighed deeply. That's absurd. Why would I send her alone? It makes no sense. The CEO, manager, and I all understood my brother's frustration. What would you like us to do, President Walters? I asked, addressing him professionally. My brother gave a slight smile. Our company cannot continue business with someone who repeatedly causes issues, refuses to acknowledge mistakes, and shifts blame onto others. She is untrustworthy, both professionally and personally. The CEO nodded. Are you asking us to fire her? My brother nodded slightly. Jade, who had remained silent, suddenly burst out. No, please. Anything but that. For the first time, true desperation filled her voice. I was wrong. I won't call you trash or sabotage your work again. I won't delete your files, mess with your schedules, or unplug your phone while you're on a call. Please, Mary, help me. Then, with astonishing audacity, she turned to my brother. You too. Help me for your family's sake. I stared at her, expressionless. No. Even if I wanted to, my brother couldn't override company policy. And I wouldn't help her anyway. On screen, Jade collapsed to the floor in despair. That same day, the CEO ordered her to be escorted out by the manager. Given her repeated defiance, they feared she might cause more trouble. The next morning, before her probation period ended, Jade was officially terminated. But it didn't end there. The company sued her for damages, citing workplace disruptions and lost business opportunities. The contract with my brother's company would now be difficult to secure under the original terms, forcing our company to make costly concessions. Even Jade's unauthorized travel expenses would be billed to her. The CEO was so enraged that he ensured she would never be hired by any affiliated companies. Given that our corporation spanned industries from retail to logistics, finding a job in the country without crossing paths with our network would be nearly impossible. For Jade, the future looked bleak, crushing debt with no prospects. As for me, I finally regained peace. My work was recognized in ways I had never imagined, even by my brother. My confidence grew, and my sales performance hit new highs. A longtime client even commented, "You were always reliable, but now you seem more self-assured and dependable." For the first time in a long while, I felt like visiting my family. I had always avoided home, feeling inferior to my brother's success. But this year, for Thanksgiving, I wanted to go. Would they be proud of me? Though my pace was slower than my brother's, I was still moving forward. With a mix of excitement and anxiety, I looked forward to the approaching holiday, ready to face my family, not as someone in his shadow, but as my own person.